My father was interred in a Jewish cemetery named Shalom Memorial Park. A military honor guard showed up, ramrod in posture and dressed in finery. A young Army corpsman played taps. Another saluted my mother. Both retrieved the American flag that draped my father's coffin and folded it gently, the better to exalt the spirit of the man who had died, and meticulously, the better to acknowledge the disciplined veteran and his military service. We took the flag home and placed it near my father's safe, in which, upon inspection, I discovered an old envelope filled with a half-dozen photographs he had taken in Buchenwald. The photos depicted the usual Holocaust fare, horrific piles of corpses and bones, skeleton survivors with petrified faces. My father had kept the photos secret, under lock and key, so important were their memories and meaning to him, and now, to me. My father-in-law was cremated, as Buddhism usually requires, and as it requires, his family surrounded his coffin as it slid into the empty crematory oven. We were there afterward as well, when the deed had been done, and Kenichi-san's remains, once cooled, were rolled out, all ashes and shards of bone, and presented before us. One last chance to honor his soul. And as Japanese tradition commands, the immediate family, the widow, the daughter, and son, used giant chopsticks to pick up skeletal bits and pieces, depositing them into a cremation urn that, as it happened, was the clone of an oversized golf ball specially tailored for the occasion. The ceremony is called katsuage, and the idea, explained to me afterward, is noble. Loved ones watch over the deceased until the very, very end, until the crematory ovens have settled and the soul of the fallen enters the enlightened eternal life. I wasn't aware of the rationale as the event transpired, and except for the golf ball, all I could think of was Buchenwald and Auschwitz. Those thoughts surprised and disturbed me. I knew, of course, where they came from, because I was my father's son, and had been raised as a Jew in Skokie, Illinois, where synagogues and temples far outnumbered churches, and where thousands of Holocaust survivors lived among us interspersed. And I grew up next door to a Mrs. Herskowitz, who had experienced Auschwitz. My first glimpse at the numbers tattooed on her left forearm is a childhood snapshot memory. My reaction to Kenichi's cremation troubled me mostly because it exposed ignorance of things Japanese, despite my marriage and multiple visits to Japan, and because I had conjured up, in the presence of Kenichi-san's remains, a memory of evil that falsely equated a righteous and praiseworthy Buddhist tradition with Hitler's final solution, a most profoundly malevolent proceeding. Yet there was, in this unseemly juxtaposition, something else at play, a reminder of the simple truth that vision is shaped by experience, and that Judaism colored the focus through which I viewed Japan, my father-in-law and my father, soldiers from enemy armies in World War II.